Awesome. Okay, great. Let's get this recording started. And Gardner, do you want to let folks in if they enter the waiting room?
Sure.
All right. Amazing. Poets in Pajamas, season 2024, episode one. Well, episode 167, episode one of this season. Welcome everyone in our little Zoom here and on Facebook Live, being live streamed, and to anyone thereafter. To Poets in Pajamas, a reading series brought to you by Sundress Publications. We like to come together one Sunday out of each month to bring poets together to share their work and cross-pollinate audiences and revel in an anti-pretentious and comfy, cozy poetry setting. Today's reading features the wonderful work of Gaia Rajan and Nicholas Goodley. We will kickstart off with Nicholas reading. We'll then shift over to Gaia's reading, and then we'll have a Q&A at the end. If you have any questions that you would like to ask our poets, you can throw them in the Facebook Live link, or you can put them in the Zoom link, and we will ask them for you. Without further ado, we can get started with our first reader. If my page will load, possibly, maybe. Yes. Nicholas Goodley is the author of Black Swim from Copper Canyon 2022. They are a team member of the performing arts platform Fly on the Wall and poetry editor for the Southeast Review. Nicholas was a finalist for the 2022 Jake Adam York Prize, runner-up for the 2019 Cave Canem Poetry Prize, and recipient of the 2017 Poetry Society of America Chapbook Fellowship, among other awards. Their work has appeared in Poetry Magazine, The New Yorker, Boston Review, Bomb, The Poetry Project, Lambda Literary, Narrative Magazine, and elsewhere. Nicholas, take it away.
All right, thank you. Uh, I got a good bit of poems. I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to be mixing some Black Swim poems with some new things, uh, and I'm excited to share with y'all. So this first one's called My Black Spell. I breastfed one hunger after another. Fear me, I know the weight of playthings, the trampoline in the crawl space, our family, lost an older sister. I am fearless, subtle, phoenix older child. There was a time I could bite and crack into pink jawbreaker, fuck my mouth up into red ants, and explain the blood in my gums away. I've got muscle and am articulate, forged from the hurt parts of the ground. Domestic life was child's play, breaking a bone at a time, all fun and games, lives in my hands. I could do so much with miniatures. Throw the piano in the kitchen, attaboy, literally sexual, stripped the boys naked on the lawn. I wanted to be Michelangelo with Barbie's arched feet, or a brat that could bend at the knees. There is spit in my circumstance. They call me unstone. They call me unmusic. Baby, 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 voodooed alive, seashell from familial waters, healthy and unimaginably magical. I'm watching your back, best I can, baby brother. Follow fish, follow things that run to us. Home, licking with gumbo. I do not have words for all the things I desire. In the summer, my hair was braided. I am your brother, best I can. Thanks. This next one's a newer one. It's called Communication Breakdown, and it has an epigraph from Shakespeare, from Titus Andronicus. Why dost thou laugh? It fits not with this hour. Someone asks me if this poem is about Titus Andronicus, and I think he is talking about Titus Andromedon, black gay best friend to a white woman dealing with the repercussions of escaping a cult. Andronicus's daughter cuts her own tongue out of her head. I know what that's like. There's no right way to deal with trauma. When Andronicus's daughter shows him her tongue, the next line of dialogue is ha, ha, ha. And historians debate what that could mean. If Titus is actually laughing, or if this is all he has the capacity to say. At the absence of her tongue, he produces three tufts of fur, three breathy fawns. Ha, 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 out of his mouth. He sees only a mouth with no tools inside of it. He can only look at it and utter three black hummingbirds, can only start language over again, only take sound back to the drawing board. Ha, at least the vocal cords react. At least it does something. It is his tongue instinctually putting itself in her place. His tongue escapes through the back of his throat, and ha, just like that, three times. Or is it funny in a way funerals are funny, like how you can't just sit there and do nothing when the choir leader butchers Amazing Grace? His voice cracks at how sweet the sound that saves. And even though it looks like no one is taking our little cousin's funeral seriously, we let it slide. We can't help letting a thing like that out of our mouths to get it out before it chokes us. Titus Burgess plays Titus Andromedon, one letter removed. He describes his role, the theatrical everyman. He is big and dark, bald as me, plays the unapologetic effeminate, the seeker of unbridled fame. He is every minority's dream role. It is a minor dream, an enormous blessing with golden handcuffs. He works hard to make his character appear without any labor, the constant rehearsal of the unpracticed. How difficult it is to convince someone you were not what they have seen you do, to keep the audience engaged. Burgess is a writer looking for his treasured tongue. A headline dubs him the author and finisher of his own fate. I too have an oral fixation. I misspeak often. Another friend asks if there's a place I'd love to call home one day, and I think she means a home for me, but what she means is a home for my poems. Yet I think the answer is the same. It is in the hands of my people, where the tongues have been running to all this time. Oh, shucks. All right. This next one's a new one. It's my fun little sassy poem, so we'll see how that goes. It's called Attitude. I left my attitude problem at home with the 14-year-old dog. I got a new attitude on the plane. I rolled my eyes and it wasn't a problem. It was easy. The stewardess with the pearls swinging across her chest, she served attitude on a tray table, poured some bad in my cup, mixed in with the ginger ale. The aircraft got off the ground on attitude like jet fuel. I arrive at my destination with some bite left in me. Someone has to say the obvious thing. You have to take yourself everywhere. My brother wears a ring that changes colors with his attitude. My new attitude swallowed my old attitude. When I want to be a different person, I buy a new ring. I pick one with the smartest mouth and play with it like an attitude. This attitude right now has my mama's hips on it. My waistline is a bad number. These curves need room to attitude. A Creole starch and Wheaties attitude. A boxing ring girl holding up a poem attitude. I can't get over how tenacious the world has made me. I hopped out the womb like a gentle spark. To build a fire, you tinder the fire. I kick my feet up on the desk in front of me. Alexa, play Debussy's Claire de Lune Jersey Mix. They are praying. I knew this was going to happen. Alexa, turn off. Okay. Alexa, turn off. We had a surprise guest. All right. They are praying in the next room. The heat of a work of art lands wherever it is meant to land. How I hope the Lord holds space for the bitch in me. What if my angel woke up with an attitude, guarded me, but dragged her slippers in my way with an attitude? Both of us pissed at nothing, the attitude of a million reasons without a name. They say grace is an attitude. I want to roll out of bed with it. My God, put me back in fighting shape. I am many things, but not anything. I examine my figure and stand in all the shades of it, proud of how well I can take a punch. Let me call my demons by name and meet them in the parking lot. Bad is what I do. It's not who I am. I am only cruel to people I don't love, but I'm learning how to love everyone. I'm only a menace when I need to be, and I'm always a menace. Guest appearance by that device over there. All right. This one's called Sweet Nothings. You look so strong. You're so lucky. You guys don't even have to work out. I bet you don't even try for that body. Is it true what they say about you guys? I bet you would wear me out. Damn that ass. You gotta be mixed with something. Nice ass. Y'all all got those big asses. Hey, hey. Damn that ass. What a cute nose. Where you from? I've been struck with jungle fever lately. I wouldn't want you to rob me. Ha ha. Yo, you Puerto Rican? You Puerto Rican? You from an island, huh? You Egyptian? You're so cute. You can't be all black, right? I bet you would never date a black guy. Bet you never been with a white guy before. What that ass do? What those lips of yours do? The things you would do to me. Ooh, I can tell you're trouble. The things I would do to you. All right, this one's like really new. I wanted to try out loud, so we're gonna give that one a go. This new one's called Your Neighbor is at Your Door. And he looks in need of saving. He tells you his wife has just died, and you can tell he is completely broken, looks drunk. He loved his young wife. You can just tell, looking at the way they were intertwined, never seen apart, and now he cannot look at you the same. He tells you how sad, and you believe him. You worry what he'll do to himself. So you say it fast without thinking. You tell him he can live with you at least until he recovers, which never quite happens. And relief is a small smiling word when he tells you he accepts in a way that there is no choice. And both of us are Kim Novak. Matter of fact, why did she jump? Why did she feign drowning? Why would she? I mean, David knew how much I loved him. I'd be his brother forever if he asked me, is this how it ends? Both of us drowning, expecting each other to swim. Well, it's wrong. You have been taught to expect as much. You can only give your life so many times. Oh, so this is love. And wow, this is a drink. You must have forgotten as much, and you too are sad. You realize you are also lonely, and you've been meaning to get it to stop. You've been looking for a reason to let someone in. When the two of you embrace, two egrets, their necks wrapped around each other, the rest of the world ends. It looks unusual, the needing this way, how impossible. What it is that you see that makes you want to keep living. You tell him it is no burden to keep each other alive. All right, two more. Yes. This one's like a love letter to queer people called Legendary Children. We fear hell and ask for it. We self-taught. We shy lives, crotch stars, viper fingers, gospel writers, damn straight. We are charmed, high on the light of the mirror. We arresting, no horns or veil, divine apple. We cocky, golden fruit, forbidden flavors of heaven. We intrigue, a painting of knives, spectacular and adequate, top and bottom lips. We leave holes in walls like huge mice. Every orifice is glorious. We are in all the places where food has been. Angels appearing finally from the background, the threshold blasted open by our trumpets and tambourines. We are made of ice and bubblegum, bronze sculptures in the wake of a biblical dawn. Heavy metal powder, audacious machine guns, all stamina and fusible. We beneathers and abovers, we queer saints, ventricle cocoons. We have given new shape to our tears, a pleasure in the innermost pink. Desire is enough. We are in the business of need. We are unsuitable bowls, transforming the real. We provoke. We are Angora cats in a dog park, serene length in a dark place, green roots in a neon earth, discovering our largest selves, nourishing the greatest of our beings. We are undoing a wound, victims of hailstorm. We raise beasts, nurse birds, air gulpers, seed swallowers. We are condemned waterfalls, spiritual fluids rushing into an orgy of waters. We are the glass bead water in the frayed water's edge. We are the current, harder than love. We are more everywhere than wildflower. We are blue-white mountains. What is the wind? A direction to run toward. We are the heirs of higher ground. We make utopias of each other. We put each other where love should go. Our power is magic, a reflection of God. We have tasted Lot's wife. She was delicious. It is one thing to have it, and another to let you have it. All right, and this last one, yep, is called
โอ้ย
Evening.
เร็วละเอโดงเพชรเหรอ
Okay, that's weird. All right, so this one's called Evening Prayer. Who bestowed upon me this habit of wanting music from a pen, this addiction to the gentleness of vowels? What are these notes from people's heads? What is the point of being the last one to speak a beautiful language. I am a fraction of what I could have been. What else can I contribute? I am outdone by children with more to lose. A teenager instructing me how it is to breathe. These kids are quick. They grab the hands of their neighbors, pull each other safely up for air. There is your enemy and son, your wife and brother, your prize and secret cross, golden fleece and weighted cast. Heaven knows I want this to be a poem people reach for. How often have I told myself I am not strong, and time keeps proving me wrong? When snow doesn't come, when I am not enough, let me do the right thing and make a rope of words. Let it begin with me, even now. There is richness beyond belief. Vulnerable warrior, what risk is there? We who already die in so many places, this not even the worst of them. No one line is revolutionary. No one word ever is. I am grateful for not dying yet. I inhale what is in front of me. Everything is changing. Young hearts, any love I can describe for you does not suffice, but you are worth my every effort. One day you will know love like this and write it better than me. And that's it. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Nicholas. That was breathtaking. So quite literally, I found myself going, um, and we must apologize for that little sequence of Zoom bombers that came flooding in as they are sometimes wont to do. A special shout out to Gardner Dorton for excellently muting and removing as soon as they began their shenanigans. Um, we will roll right along, though, into our second and final reading of the night. Um, that being the reading of Gaia Rajan, the author of Chapbook's Moth Funerals from Glass Poetry Press and Killing It from Black Lawrence Press. His work is published or forthcoming in Best New Poets 2022, the 2022 Best of the Net Anthology, the Kenyon Review, Thrush, Split Lip Magazine, Diode, Palette Poetry, and elsewhere. They live in Pittsburgh, and you can find them at Gaia Rajan on Twitter or Instagram. Gaia, whenever you're ready.
Hi, it's so good to be here. This is amazing. Gardy, do you think you can fix the highlight? This is getting weird. Lovely. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm super excited. I picked a mix of stuff from Killing It, which is the old chapbook that came out a year and a half ago from Black Lawrence Press, and just new stuff. I've been working with Diana Quinn, who I love very deeply, and she does this insane thing where she has us write a poem a day for like days on end, and it's driving me crazy. But also, I feel like I'm getting somewhere new, so this is part of the new project from that. Yeah, so this is one of the new poems. It's called December. December. No sleep, no drugs for sleep, not even when the nails that hold the world together came free in my head, and I saw a leak infernal between the ground and the ground. Not when Elle in a diner said she had 3 months, an insect agony, not then. I waited until the house to convulse. For days after, I did not walk, but strut. I was the prince of death. I wanted the worst of everything. I wore her fur coat, threadbare black liner in a shape I'd stolen from the dead. Ants my mother never let me see in the casket. I was shrapnel, sorry, carnal, cruel, unruly, a mess of crib jewelry, only the smallest gems from the roomy stores where I could stare but never touch. I craved touch. I made a haunted bed and worked it bare. My path from then was apart from the living, like a bride or a spear of ice or the silver ring on the left hand of God. Okay. Yeah, and this is older. I'm from Ohio, so this is about Ohio. Yeah, weird experience, but wouldn't necessarily recommend. This is called Blind Turn. Esther is my best friend, and she says maybe we can go to the 6th grade formal together if her mom says yes. She gives me her Jesus charm under the swings. She has 4 lizards. Our one sleepover at her house, I was awake the whole time because her lizards kept rattling in their cages. Esther talks for us both. She's got her appendix out, and she says I should too, so we can switch appendixes. Nothing that bad's ever really happened to me. Esther says my heartbreak is psychosomatic. I say, don't use words you don't know. I think I want to only wear big sunglasses. I want to only wear black sequins. I want to trap everyone I love in one long hallway. In June, Esther and I stand at the edge of the road holding our thumbs out because Esther says, this is how you get to New York. She sticks her tongue out at passing drivers, and I say, knock it off. 3 hours in, we smell fire. We look down the road, and then there's a car and smoke rising from its body, and then it turns over and over and over on its belly like a seal. This next one is likewise about Ohio. It's from Killing It. So yeah, okay. This is called Ohio, because clearly I have one obsession. All right, Ohio. At 15, you're not freckled, not blushing, not brave enough to scale the fence or let your mother see you love a girl. So you hold out for senior year in the arcade, where the worlds before ours ended. You'll play pinball with a girl who could have loved you and feel like a murderer. Take this fear into your hips, your hands, your name, hide it in your bedroom, where you chew the ballpoint pen you borrowed from the science fair you lost in 2nd grade as you listen to success stories of conversion therapy in New York. You barely remember when your mother found a poem you'd hidden in your backpack about a girl at school and left the lights on for 4 nights straight, looking at you like you were monstrous or dead. And finally, you drove together through highways in silence, and she put the radio on. And you skipped the station whenever you heard a curse word. And when you pulled back into the driveway, she said, quietly, you are not one of them. All you remember is when you were 6, and she taught you how to swim, and you were so good at it, you barely needed lessons, until she took you to real water. The currents forcing you down and down, you helpless and clawing for air in Ohio's deepest lake, the same way you gasped crying on a park bench. Harder when a stranger promised it always gets better, neither of you believing it. That means a lot to me also because I first read that poem like 3 years ago. I was like 15, 16, and I read it secretly in my parents' house on a Zoom reading, so it's very nice to be reading it in my actual house on likewise a Zoom reading. Okay, next one's gonna be a weird one. It's called Blur Atlas. I don't have more preamble. Blur Atlas. I fell in love with a surveillance camera. We met on Tinder. 6 hours later, I was drunk in her apartment. She memorized my back. She memorized my knuckles. We spent hundreds at Dave & Buster's. We signed a year lease. We traded right eyes and winked at each other hollow and hungry at hotel check-in desks. She gave me a necklace engraved with my own grainy face. My hair grew out and she cut it exactly as it was. Factory reset, she said, sweeping clouds from the tile. Years we sat in our shoebox listening to each other breathe. Our 5th anniversary, she takes me to Applebee's. We eat fires. We tip hundreds. We go to a house party and tell the same jokes to different people. They've cracked the window to let in the moonlight, and everyone is crying all over each other. We walk dripping to the nearest streetlight. She says she has a gift for me. We crouch on the curb, and then every light in the house turns on. In high res, we watch the visionaries and thieves and operatists bite each other's necks and smoke and sing, watch them blink red-eyed and coughing and speckled with incantation. We do our best Sphinx cat. We do our best Archangel. We do our best work, but we're not looking at each other. Okay, a couple more. I used to live in a house with 5 roommates. So yeah, this is called Essay on Class. 5 roommates, 3 cats, radiator coughed. Okay, I'm gonna start over. I don't know what's going on. Okay. 5 roommates, 3 cats, radiator coughed black dust onto cardboard boxes I called furniture, and the cats inhaled it and slunk around sneezing. I stole oranges, bought leather wingtips instead of dinner, and snuck into museums. I loved linen only as a mechanism for impersonation. For months, fell asleep listening to an art collector on the radio. The most he'd say of any acquisition was that it was nice, or even quite nice, which meant about 2 billion. And then the details of Medium, the art school the young artist had attended, always one of the 3 most expensive in the cities. The trick was always to avoid awe. The rich participate in beauty, but do not acknowledge it. My only indulgence was the pulpy straight romances I'd read on the bus, the kind with a woman's face looking up into anonymous, chiseled arms so fleshy, the author names were all pseudonyms, and the bookseller raised her eyebrows when I checked out. I always imagined myself as him, so full of veins and a sureness, velocity. When, street lit, he pushed her up against the brick of the alley to finally kiss her, I gasped aloud. Okay, I'm gonna do two short ones, and then we'll be done, and we can do the fun part, which is talking. Cool. Okay, this is called I Tried Everything, and it's in Best New Poets 2022, I think. I don't know. One of the only published ones I'm doing, so yay. I tried everything. Noise and spite and rock, bleach, black keys on the wrong beats, wrong chords, coward I was, inexact with my violences, writing quietly on buses until the memory changed. I stood at the hinges of conversation, not speaking except to agree or repeat my name, staring at strangers' perfect knuckles. I cradled a pigeon and dropped it into my bed. I cracked open a glow stick and drank what was inside. This looks like a movie, I thought. It was nothing like a movie. Fluorescent and sour. The flowers died in my absence. I rented a beater and drove until the rubber bounced off a nail. This feels like a prison, someone said in a movie. Nothing is like a prison. When I looked up, a Chuck E. Cheese had risen outside. Neon smoke, new mulch. I don't know if this is a memory, but I remember it. I staggered in the corridor past shuddering horses, past strobe lights and wasps smashing out at that inhuman green, dead wasps on the tile, the windows, the plastic flowers, their bodies, their bodies, their bodies. I ran until I ran into myself until I. Okay. And yeah, this last one, it's called Done. If y'all like this poem, also you should read Lee Edelman, who wrote this queer theory book called No Future about basically this idea that like the fictional child is the greatest threat to queer well-being. So yeah, this is called Done. It's about those children. Okay, done. You must convince yourself you know better than life. You know better than soot or algae's wet sigh and the child you might have had or been who drank brine and left the olives jarred. He would draw the lines, would mark the years himself. He's never seen the vines that, unlooked for centuries, barred the light for the windows and won. Now, to open the grate, you have to unhook the ground from the ground. Most days you leave it be. You allow what can survive you, whatever of you can survive. Rarely, you notice some trace of your body, which, in your absence, continues. As debt continues, rot, the house, a buzzing shadow from the screen door to the bedroom, so thick the flies split or are shunned and go to corners to die. They die in pairs. People bristle from you on the street if they look. The truck driver exhales flat smoke and it breathes into a keyhole. You plod past a little boy wearing a red dress and he nods at you, tips his horns of red felt. Thank you. That's it.
Oh, amazing. A perfect reading followed by a perfect reading. Come on. Thank you so much, Gaia. That was unbelievable. We'll now switch into our Q&A portion of the evening. Gardner, would you like to take over from here?
Yeah, sure. Feel free, anyone, to throw in some questions into the chat as well. But one of my first questions I always like to ask, because I do find people have really different answers, is what is the average medium you write in? Like, are you a phone notes poet, a Word doc poet? You have to write it in a Moleskine, typewriter. What is your medium, and like, how would you say that affects the way you write? Or what does that do to your tone? Or do you think that has any effect on what you've been writing lately? And either of you can jump at that first.
I write in a like a sketchbook, like it has like with no lines. Because I write like not linearly. I don't write, no poem is in order. Usually the poems look like a collage on page first. Just because of the way I organize the work later is Yeah, I've never felt like like started at the top of a poem and ended. It's just like put enough of the feelings on the page, and then I'll figure it out later. So that generous states happens on like paper, yeah, like a sketchbook.
So I've been doing this weird thing lately. So okay, my previous tried and true practice basically is I have this friend named Annalise who made this software called Midst, and it basically creates a video out of your entire draft process, which is a great brain hack to make yourself feel like every part of the process is fine because there's a video happening. That's the real product, is the video, not the poem. Um, and so I got like fuck, sorry. I got a beta version of this thing and I've been writing with it since like legitimately 2020. And then I just added a new weird step, which is basically like because I have to write every day, I can't use the same software because otherwise my brain will go insane. So every other day, the way that this happens is I go just to like my stack of paper, start from the beginning, get like some opening down, and then every time I feel like it's like messed up or whatever, it's usually because the last couple lines have been wrong, so I like start over, write the whole poem from scratch on a new piece of paper, which is like terrible for everything, but that's okay. We're working with it, it works. But yeah, that's been the two things lately.
Awesome. Yeah, you never know. Like some people that have these really lyrical and natural imagery, like use their phone notes, and you can never just call what people are going to use to write with.
Yeah.
Other question is, has there been any artist, whether that's a writer, musician, model, that has inspired anything you're working on lately, particularly?
I can go. So in addition to being obsessed with poems, I'm also from a like spectator point of view kind of obsessed with fashion. And I really love all of these like weird sculptural designers, especially like ones who do stuff in all black. And yeah, I just started this poem that's or I'm on like the second draft or something, and it has a Rick Owens quote from one of his interviews. It's in GQ, where he goes, I've worn the same clothes for years like a priest or a prisoner. That's yeah, that's in the poem now. But I just really love the idea of seeing fashion not as just like clothes you put on your body, but as architecture. So yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I love that. I've been thinking about like style as a almost like choosing, it's like choosing a form for a poem almost. Like you have, how do you shape the thing? Uh like the base is the same, but how do you like decorate it? How do you like put it together and present it? And I think like, yeah, fashion is not far from poetry at all, I don't think.
Especially like I've been thinking about what it means, like especially with being queer to, like fashion this much. Like it's a way of existing in the world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could reset every day and like be a different person if you wanted, and
Yeah,
like no one
exactly.
can
It's character
stop you.
dressing.
Yeah.
It's a new speaker.
Mhm.
um Adam asked, do you find it a helpful exercise to write every day, or do you find it best when it comes naturally or unprompted? And either you can answer that first.
I'm the one who created this problem, so
Yeah.
I'll answer first. So I think, okay, I generally do feel like usually it works better if I just write when I'm called to. However, a lot changed in my life in the past 2 years, and so I just like found myself drifting farther from my writing, even though like I wanted to be closer to it. And this has been kind of a forcible way of getting myself back into like a relationship with a practice. And also like I don't actually write every day. I just write when Diana makes me write every day, which is like, she does, in the interest of being sane, she does sprints for about like 5 to 7 days each time, and we get a week or so to recover. So that's like, I can see myself by about day 4 getting to the point that I'm like, I can notice my usual patterns and the way that I like build a poem, and then I'm like, okay, what we're not doing is any of those things. Like last 3 days of poems are usually the best. So
Nice. Yeah.
yeah.
It's kind of the exhaustion theory.
Yeah.
Nicholas?
Yeah, I love getting to the point of like the exhausted poems are usually incredible. That I find that as well. I think I write not too slow. I guess like a poem or two a week. Uh, but I think the benefit of that is I'm really comfortable writing bad poems, and that the reason that's okay is because you have to generating material is all right, but the process of editing is really exciting for me a lot more than the actual like first drafts. So it just feels like I'm getting that out of the way so that I could do the fun part of editing. So it's like the investment in those generative states aren't that intense, and I could just be okay with there's no judgment there. I could just put whatever and then really have some meat to work with later on. That part feels fun. That's when I feel the most like an artist. The draft part is like the feely soft parts, and then I get to like be smart on the editing process. That's the part I enjoy the most, I think.
Uh, Question for both of you. You both have had work come out in the last year, or in the last couple of years. Is there anything with new projects that you feel particularly excited about, or maybe that you're trying that's different?
I think I'm thinking about trying to be more like, and I think I've in the couple poems I read, like with Attitude or Legendary Children, like how to be more tenacious and more like have a more almost aggressive voice, or just like more sure-footed than I was initially doing in Black Swim, or more like I think maybe being in the space I am now, in the years I've been through now, I'm like I want to project like I can't be fucked with. I want that I want that to kind of lead. And then I'm doing that to show by example for other people who are marginalized or something that like, hey, you can put your foot down in like in this beautiful way, and like be unshakable. I think that's the direction I'm trying to move right now.
That's beautiful. That's
Really?
amazing.
Thanks.
Um, yeah, I think I don't know. After killing it, I had a crisis of faith for about like 2 months where I was like, I've written this thing and I don't know how to move past it at all, you know, and I was just kind of living there. And it feels like finally I'm so outside the shadow of that book. And like, I don't know, it's just, I think most of the change has been being really interested in writing these really like sinewy poems, you know. And then also I've been working with sound a lot more, which I find fun. And also reading a fuck ton of theory. And so like a lot of the poems, you know, directly or indirectly reference theory. And that's been fun. Just because I feel like now it's in conversation with not just the poets I love, but also like, you know, designers and movies. And like I love Cronenberg, so I have like body horror poems and like, you know, yeah, it's just like I'm trying to create in this next book, because it's probably going to be my first full length, like something that feels a lot more like, you know, that it has roots in everything that I am, not just the poet parts.
Hmm.
Yeah, I heard when you were saying when we were first talking, you talked about like you were reading a lot of short stories, and I think the way you're playing with narrative, uh, like the details you're picking up on to tell a story, it makes sense that you're like engaging in these other kinds of um like pulling from these other mediums to inform the poetry. I don't know if you
Well,
want
that's
to talk
fun.
about your use of narrative, but yeah, I think that's I could feel that.
Thank you. Yeah, that's so fun. Okay, so I have a question for you.
Okay.
If you were to feel like the new project takes lineage from like a couple things, what would they be?
I got a lot of TV in there. It sounds weird. I liked in this new like collection, I have like poems where I'm like talking about like Tiffany New York Pollard and like Sojourner Truth in the same poem. Or like uh I have like a series on Vertigo, like the show Vertigo, or like a couple poems about like some of my favorite anime people. So I'm really all over the
Yeah.
place. But I just want to like I really wanted like things that people feel like uh I want to make people uncomfortable with like who can take up the space of a poem. Like these people are worth veneration. Like these people can be elevated in this way. Um, so yeah, a lot of I think I was watching. I know I was watching a lot of reality TV at the time, and always.
Everything.
Yeah. But I wanted to feel like yeah, like I don't always. I think that like high and low culture, I want to dissolve that uh,
Yeah, because there's a lot
boredom.
of power in the tacky.
Yes, and
Yeah,
yeah, like the campy, the like ridiculous, the gaudy, like
yeah.
I love making space for that.
Have you read there's a book of essays called Tacky. It's like
No,
entirely about this concept. Highly
okay,
recommend. Yeah.
I'll look it up. It's called Tacky.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds perfect.
I forget who it's by, but it came out in like 2020. Yeah.
Hmm. Was it before the people were trying to define camp forever?
Oh
Uh,
God. I mean, I feel like that's been
that
happening.
weird thing.
That's
Yeah,
been happening.
yeah, that was awkward.
Yeah. Especially since none of them have read anything about it. So they're like,
Yeah.
when this is when weird. Okay, that's not all right.
Oh, Tacky, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
Um,
actually had a question for both of you, if I can butt in. I've got one quick one that is generally speaking. I'm curious if y'all have developed an obsession recently or something that you just are like so drawn to. And this does not have to engage at all with like literature or theory or poetry or anything like that. Just anything that you're like that thing, like that's the one. And if I had one moment to endorse something, it'd be that. Um, but then too, I was really struck by the way that both of y'all, through different um, themes and different lengths of poems, but you both had such distinct cadences and timbres, and this just the general speed of each poem was so distinct. Be it kind of Nicholas's like patient and enunciate diction, or Gaia's like the only word that comes to mind is like necessary, like it's like willing itself out. There were the literary critic Wadden had this phrase about the Flarf poets that I always that kind of sticks in my mind, where he said the truth will out of the poem. And I feel like as you were reading, the truth just kept just surfacing through that pace. And so aside just whatever you've been obsessed with recently, I'm curious if y'all have any thoughts about where that voice comes from, that informs you that this poem is read at this speed. Like, here are the words that I'm going to land on. Here are the words I'm going to turn on. Is it organic? Is it by a labor of love, where you just keep repeating the poems over and over again? That kind of thing.
I know for me, I think I'm kind of I've tried the form on the page informs a lot, like where I'm breaking lines, uh has a lot to do with like I can offer some kind of surprise or some kind of um where I want the like the reader or the person listening to kind of linger. Like I'm the one who has control of that by how quickly I follow it up with something else. So I think the poems that I know are more dense or like feel more rich, like there's just sensation after sensation after sensation. I know I need to go really slow so that as much of that can be absorbed as possible. Sometimes I do want to like overwhelm on purpose. So it's I think being intentional about the sensations you want for the like having that thought out before the reading. I think like I'm a big advocate for poets really practicing and like how they're going to read. It doesn't mean perform. Hell, it might mean perform, but like you have one chance to deliver your poem. It's not on the page. How you audibly do it is the way that someone receives your art. Like be intentional with that shit. It's not arbitrary or like and it's not like silly to care about that. So I think I know I practice that kind of thing. I feel like Gaia, you practice it too. So that's my little thought on it. But yeah, what do you think, Gaia?
yeah, no, I agree with all of that. I practice my shit. It's also like, I don't know, especially when I'm writing from child voice, I was even
Mhm.
more hummingbird than I am now as a kid. Like I just would not stop talking, right? And so when I'm writing in child voice, usually I'm hearing it really fast. And I think also like I don't know. I grew up a concert violinist, and whenever I think about reading, I think about like the percussive accumulative thing of like the orchestra, you know. So I realized at some point that if I read as fast as I want to, that not every line is going to come through, but like I'm hoping that it'll accumulate, you know, and that's sort of the vague, yeah, vibes to this. In terms of obsessions, two major ones lately. I'm really into like just textures generally, like as a person, right? So this led to me figuring out I had to get a new rug like a year ago, right? And I decided that I wanted it to be wool, and then I went down this entire rabbit hole about hand woven antique rugs from like the early 1900s, late 1800s. And so yeah, I read a fuck ton of books, and now I am a rug dealer. This is not a euphemism. I'm actually a rug dealer, and yeah, I have like I've had 4 rugs so far, but I'm just like constantly learning stuff about, you know, like all of the knotting styles over the years and all of that. It's crazy. I just love like having such useless knowledge. It's great. So yeah. No.
Yeah, I guess the obsession, I'm trying to get poetically informed by like rewatching Twilight Zone. I've watched all of Twilight Zone before, but rewatching it, it's just
It's so good.
it's so good. It's just because it's they're not trying to overcomplicate the scenario. It's just like this thing is happening, and here's how humans would react. And I think there's a purity to it. The setup's pretty simple, and it's just good human storytelling. So I just been obsessed with that, and I'm trying to like write about it. And I think people have written about Twilight Zone before, but I just want to touch base with that world a little bit, and then see what I could get from it.
Thank you both so much. Incredible, incredible answers all around, resounding. Um, I'm now like now I also feel like I need to investigate rugs too. And
Yeah,
I've never actually
extremely.
I've seen one episode of The Twilight Zone about a guy who's on a train and he keeps getting off at a certain station. I don't know, I don't remember that, but it sticks out in my mind and I need to go watch some more of that. I think we have time for about one more question, and Adam has just posted one. What poetic forms, new or old, do you find most exciting?
Cool. So I've been trying to I had a guzzle crown in the
Mhm.
first in Killing It, because I was writing about partition, and I felt like the guzzle crown like does interesting things with the geopolitical aspects of the form mirroring the thing,
Mhm.
right? Because it's the guzzle is South Asian, and then the idea of the crown is American, but like the sonnet, which is, you know, the actual crown form is English. So like thought that was fun. So I'm trying to write another one, but like weirder and more theory rooted, you know. And then also I've always been in this weird relationship with the prose poem, because at once I'm like, you know, like trying it feels actually somehow more constrictive than like, you know, lineated poems. It feels like a box, and so
Mhm.
I like putting the speaker in a box and seeing what happens. So, you know, that's always fun.
Yeah. I've been working with the sonnet a lot recently. Just it really 14 lines really is a really great length to like limit yourself to. Like if you can't say it in 14, for me, I'm like, okay, well, I'll maybe try again. But I think blank verse 2 I've been working with a lot. I used to like hate the idea of working with form, but limits really are helpful. Like constraints like take me in whole new directions. I found like so many things I would have never found if I didn't like try to put it on those forms. Um, so yeah, I encourage people to like, especially if you think you hate it, you should probably be trying it a bunch. Because I promise it'll switch. Like something will happen and then you'll be like, oh, I hear it now. It's important to do, even for fun.
Thank you both so much for a night of cozy, cozy poems. Cozy poems, good talks. That is our time. Thank you to everyone who tuned in on the Facebook live stream. Thank you to our attendees here Please look at our calendar for our upcoming events, the next of which being April 21st's reading with Adam Gianfrancaro and Sarah Levine, which is going to be one for the ages. That's all I have for right now. Thank you to Sundress Publications for putting this on, and thank you to our poets once again. Bye, everyone.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank y'all so much.
Great,
Incredible.
that was great. Yeah,
Unbelievable.
That was fun.
Good time. And Nicholas, thank you so much for chugging right along. We're trying to reincorporate Twitter, and the reason we stopped doing Twitter was for the very reason of little 12-year-olds loving to jump in and say some bullshit.
Yeah, are these 12-year-olds following poetry sites? And how do they even, I'm just like, how do you even find this?
Whenever anyone tweets the word Zoom, their bots
Oh,
pick up on
okay.
it. I used to run a Zoom reading series, and we got them like once a session, and it was a whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have through Erin Elizabeth, the editor-in-chief of Sundress, we have access to a software that the University of Tennessee provides that shrouds our links. We had one last year. I'm assuming that one is now compromised because they were able to get in. So for the next reading, we're going to shift that around. I'm sorry we didn't do that for this reading. I did not think it was going to be a problem, but I really appreciate y'all chugging along.
Yeah, no worries. And I don't think I even saw, I don't know if I didn't see much, so that's fine.
I don't think they actually got access to the visuals. I think they were just kind of like saying weird things for 2 minutes. Yeah. Yeah. You were so much more interesting than
I was like, I think I can
Yeah.
beat them out. Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
Ote folks, that's it. Thank you so much. Have a great
Right,
night.
Yeah, you
have a
too.
good one.
We'll be in contact about y'all's honorariums. Thank you for getting the payment information sent along, but we'll get that shipped over in the next couple days.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Right.
Have a good
Bye, y'all.
Yeah.